Hello there and welcome. Let's just take a moment together, you and I, to talk about something so many of us feel deep down. That state of just being fine and what it might mean to look beyond it, to find a way of living that feels a little more, well, a little more you.
You know that word, fine? It's such a common answer. How are you? I'm fine. But we need to talk about a certain kind of fine, the one that becomes our default setting. And the first thing to know about this version is that it isn't actually peace.
Sure, maybe there's no big crisis happening, but this kind of fine is also missing something, isn't it? It's missing that real, vibrant spark. It's not joy. It's that quiet, almost numb middle ground we can get used to living in.
And it's for sure not alignment. Alignment, well, that's a feeling deep in your bones, that sense of knowing you're where you're supposed to be, doing what you're meant to do. It just fits.
So what is it then? What we've learned to call fine so often is actually just survival mode. It's the engine humming, It's keeping everything running, but it's not the same as truly, fully living.
So how in the world do we get here? Let's dig into that. Let's look at how we get so used to this feeling, how something heavy or disconnected can slowly, over time, just start to feel normal.
Oh, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? On the outside, we're doing the things, we're handling our responsibilities, but underneath it all, there's this hum, this quiet exhaustion, a feeling of being disconnected that you just can't quite put your finger on. To really bring this to life, let's look at a classic example, the person everyone calls the strong one. We all know her. Maybe you are her. She's the one who is always there for everyone else, managing all the pieces. And here's the crazy gap, right? On the outside, everyone sees her as capable, dependable, almost unbreakable. But her inner world? Well, that's a totally different story. Inside, she often feels completely unseen, running on empty, and so disconnected from what she actually needs. When she says, "I'm fine," it's not really an answer, it's a shield. It's so important to understand how this happens, because please hear me on this. This is not a personal failure. It's a pattern we learn. It's the power of conditioning at work. It often starts when we're young. First, we get assigned these roles to fit in, to feel safe, right? Be the helper, be the good girl, be the peacemaker. Then we're conditioned to stay in that role. Questioning things isn't always welcome, so we become who we need to be. And after a while, that role isn't a costume anymore. It starts to feel like our actual skin, like our real identity. And all of this leads to what you could call default thinking. It's when you're living your life based on beliefs you never really chose for yourself, following a path you never really stopped to question. It's how we can build a whole life that looks perfect from the outside but just feels hollow, because we weren't the ones who drew up the blueprints. But then, something happens. A little crack starts to show in that "I'm fine" foundation. And this turning point, this little flicker of awareness, it doesn't start with some big earth-shattering answer. No, it starts with something much smaller and way more powerful. It all begins with a quiet, really honest question. The kind of question that can shake up everything you've accepted as normal. A question that maybe, just maybe, you've been avoiding for a really long time. And there it is. Just let yourself sit with that for a second. It's not, "Do I have a good life?" or "Should I be grateful?" It's a direct line to your heart. Am I actually happy? And here is the follow-up that cuts right to the chase. Am I really living and feeling my life, or am I just getting through it? That difference right there between happiness and just functioning, that's everything. That is the turning point. Okay, so asking the question is step one. But what comes next? What do you do with that new awareness? Well, this is where the new path begins. It's about making an active, conscious choice to find your true alignment. A really big piece of this new path is learning the difference between silence and peace. For so long, we're taught that keeping things quiet means keeping the peace. But biting your tongue to avoid a fight, that's not peace. That's silence. True peace is strong enough to handle honesty. It can make space for the tough conversations and the truth of what doesn't work for you anymore. And this is really what it all comes down to. Alignment takes courage. It means choosing what's authentic for you over what's just familiar and comfortable, even when it feels scary and uncertain.
It's about taking that step away from the predictable ache of fine and into the beautiful, messy unknown of what's true for you now.
And as you think about all this, I want to leave you with a few permissions. Just hear these for you. You are allowed to question the life you've built. You are allowed to outgrow people and places. And you are absolutely 100% allowed to choose something different for yourself.
So we end right back where the true journey begins, with this question. And it's not a test you have to answer right now. It's more like a compass. Let it be a gentle guide leading you away from a life of just surviving and toward a life that feels deeply, authentically, and truly yours. Am I really happy?